Arriving aboard a packed manufactured airship, you are welcomed not by fanfare, but by the crumbling ruins of towering pyramids, their stone tumbling in silent testament to the desert's current siege. You're here because Balthazar, one of the 6 original Tyrian gods, has embarked on a relentless crusade for restoration. Stripped of his divine power and cast down, he now seeks to reclaim his former glory by consuming the magic of an elder dragon, a primordial titan that hoards and shapes the very currents of Tyria's lifeblood. Guild Wars 1 players may recall the Fissure of Woe, where Balthazar once chose and exalted an Eternal, forging her into his herald. This arena is a symbolic juxtaposition between the god's ancient, yet now faded glory, and his burning hubris to force his will upon Tyria.
Join his army, or be crushed by it. Come with me.
Vitus, hold position here and help these people. I'm going after her.
But that's exactly what she wants.
After a brief yet fierce exchange with the Herald, you descend into a village engulfed in chaos. It's here that you are introduced to the Forged, an army animated by the same ritual that created the Exalted, our ancient allies in the Auric Basin. They take many forms, from aerial warcasters to flame-wreathed hounds, mere harbingers, foreshadowing what's to come. ArenaNet's UX team is top-notch, as you can see helpful symbols indicating where to go, what to do, and who is a friend or a foe. The UI is non-intrusive, and is my favorite of any MMORPG. Combat is fluid, yet not floaty, impactful, yet not jarring. Enemies fight as a group. Several weaker mobs crowd around you, while a Warhound pulls a flame trap across the ground, at the same time as the Forged Mage pulls a molten cube from the ancient sands. We'll explore this profession more in detail later, yet as you can see, using your abilities at the right time and space is crucial. Attentive viewers will also notice that, unlike World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, or Lord of the Rings Online, Guild Wars 2 has no global cooldown. Instead, each weapon skill operates on its own individual timer, making combat feel fluid and dynamic. This system is further enhanced by Alacrity, a boon that reduces skill cooldown, allowing for greater adaptability. While ultimately subjective, removing combat from a fixed global tick grants players greater agency in how they approach and solve combat challenges. As a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner myself, actual martial combat is fluid, its pace shifting dynamically based on a myriad of factors. Guild Wars 2 mirrors this philosophy, allowing for a more intuitive and responsive combat experience, where freedom of movement and decision-making shape the flow of battle. Combat in Guild Wars 2 is action-oriented, offering dynamic engagement while still allowing target locking when needed. Furthermore, most weapons feature chained abilities. The first weapon skill typically peaks at the 3rd step of its chain, making it strategic to weave other abilities around this natural rhythm. It's no surprise that Guild Wars 2's combat is celebrated from new players all the way to aspirational raiders.
I think the combat in Guild Wars 2 is the best I've ever seen in any game. There's so much you can optimize, in an encounter by thinking outside of the box with your class varieties, your builds, and then applying them to the specific situation that you're trying to get past.
Like I've tested out some like FF14, some WoW, and like Neverwinter, but Neverwinter isn't exactly like up to standards in most things these days. But the combat feels extremely dynamic for me. Like there's no like global cooldown like you have in like FF. Almost all skills you can move while you're casting them. It's just like whenever I play another MMO, it feels like clunky to me.
After driving out the invaders, you find the townsfolk in desperate need. Most NPCs are voice acted.
Of course, but maybe you should hang back. Yes, please. Haxim, your leg doesn't look good.
Can't just sit here.
However, this approach forces a pause, sometimes making you wait through dialogue you'd rather pass. Previously, such moments played out in skippable cutscenes, offering more control. While the new method enhances immersion, it comes at the cost of player agency, an ironic contrast to the game's otherwise fluid combat. Alas, this area is functionally a tutorial. Like the Elder Scrolls Online, every introductory area teaches players the basics of the game. You learn how to pick up objects and use them, like this fire extinguisher.
Here, take this.
Using items or special triggers is an important component of various tasks and group contents, such as chaining an ancient swap ghost from your Warclaw. But the most critical part of this tutorial is the introduction to Guild Wars 2's mounts. In most MMORPGs, mounts are little more than speed boosts. Black Desert Online is an exception, though not without its clunkiness. While most MMOs follow Blizzard's design philosophy, here it was WoW that took inspiration from Guild Wars 2, a shift made clear in Dragonflight. There are 9 unique mounts in Guild Wars 2, each designed for a specific purpose, from scaling cliffs to soaring through the skies. Beyond aesthetics, mounts grow stronger through the mastery system, unlocking enhanced mobility and utility the more you invest in them. But beyond function lies form. In Guild Wars 2's mounts are more than just looks. They feel alive. Your raptor thrashes beneath you, testing your grip before finally accepting your command. The skimmer teases your hero. Your sky scale excitedly devours your treats of fish, a subtle moment of trust between rider and beast. Specifically, raptors are among the fastest land-based mounts. Once fully trained, they can leap across vast distances, bridging gaps that would otherwise be impassable. In combat, their powerful tail swipe pulls enemies together, setting up devastating AoE attacks. Skimmers are sleek, manta ray-like mounts, gliding effortlessly over water, quicksand, and treacherous terrain, their hovering movement negating full damage entirely. But you don't start with a full stable. Guild Wars 2 subtly introduces obstacles before solutions. In the Crystal Oasis, you may find a rocky outcrop rising from the water, its mysterious entrance beckoning, yet with no clear way inside. Nearby, a fissure offers cryptic hints, nudging you towards an eventual answer. This is Guild Wars 2 pedagogy at work, teaching through discovery and environmental storytelling rather than direct instruction. If you enjoy Zelda-style design, where hints and visual cues reward curiosity, you'll feel at home in Guild Wars 2. And with the right training, skimmers can even dive underwater, unlocking new depths of exploration. Plus, their utility extends beyond traversal. In combat, they heal allies they pass through, while granting increased movement speed and a 33% damage reduction boon, making them invaluable in caravan escort events. But skimmers cannot access sand portals. For that, you need the Jackal, a mount woven from pure desert magic. It's a master of agility, capable of short-distance teleportation and precise, calculated leaps. Composed entirely of shifting, enchanted sand, it can store up to 3 charges of a blink-like dash, momentarily dissolving its form before reappearing ahead. More than a swift mode of travel, the Jackal can phase through sand portals, scattered across the desert, seamlessly maintaining its momentum, opening up complex platforming puzzles and unique traversal routes. Plus, its engage still grants a protective barrier to nearby allies at the start of combat, absorbing damage and delaying the need for healing. But Tyria is more than just the land beneath your feet. It's a world of open skies and boundless horizons. The Griffin, one of Guild Wars 2's most beloved mounts, embodies this freedom. With a high skill ceiling, it is Tyria's first true flying mount, offering unparalleled speed and mobility. Thy Weeping Willow, a content creator who caught my eye due to her artistic celebration of Guild Wars 2's mounts, shared a moving story about how she fosters her community.
Well, we kind of just kidnap people. Like, some people volunteer, but some people we just kind of kidnap into it. It's just like, oh, you're on the Griffin, join us. And it eventually, the group just began growing. One time, somebody spoke bad of Griffin, and we chased them for like 40 minutes, and then they joined our guild.
Unlocking it is no simple task. The journey spans an epic questline demanding exploration and perseverance. But for those who endure, mastery of the skies awaits. Unlike simple gliding, the Griffin thrives on momentum, diving, accelerating, and converting speed into vertical height, creating an aerial traversal system unlike any other. In fact, the Griffin is notorious for having layered mechanics unknown to many players.
So basically, a lot of it comes down to knowing the mechanics exist, aka reading the masteries. Many people do not. In the masteries, it's described that you need to wing flap during your dive, and believe me, so many people do not know this little fact.
I didn't know that.
You actually need to Yes, this is what I mean. Exactly.
The Griffin has even inspired community events where players gather to soar across Tyria's breathtaking landscapes. You can even receive flying lessons.
Like, for example, I also have somebody else in my guild who also gets these flying lessons. He does that on Mondays, where it's completely focused on pure beginners only, and also very much suited for them. But like,
And while you can't drive a car in Guild Wars 2, you can roll atop a bug. A playful homage to its Guild Wars 1's origins, the roller beetle is built for speed. Scattered across Tyria, special cracked walls can only be broken by a high-speed beetle impact, revealing hidden pathways, secrets, and treasures. And for those who appreciate the little details, when you break, the beetle briefly stands on its tiny legs, an enduring contrast to its usual breakneck pace. Like the roller beetle, the siege turtle is a nod to its origins in Guild Wars 1. It is the first, and so far only, two-person mount, allowing a second rider to man its powerful cannons. The Sky Scale.
Please, return to your homes, lock your doors, and avoid household appliances powered by jade batteries.
Once a laborious mount to obtain, became more accessible with the secrets of the obscure expansion. Functioning more like a helicopter than a glider, it clings to cliffs, allowing for incremental vertical progression and exploration. While not as fast as the Griffin, it compensates with utility, breathing fire upon foes and creating a combo field on landing. Its ability to hover mid-air also makes it invaluable for avoiding ground threats, especially while waiting for meta events to begin. Last yet not least, the Warclaw stands apart as Guild Wars 2 only world versus world exclusive mount, built for siege warfare, hunting stealth enemies, and charging into battle. But unlike other world vs. world mechanics, the Armored Beast isn't confined to PvP. It has its place in PvE as well, with unique abilities tailored to exploration. In the Isle of Janthier, Guild Wars 2's latest expansion, as of this video, the Warclaw gains even more utility, leaping across rivers, tracking hidden treasure, and giving your entire stable an extra boost of endurance. Thus, unlike some MMOs that discard past content, Guild Wars 2 honors its legacy, not by retiring features, but by expanding upon them. Dungeons excluded, a topic we'll cover later. This philosophy is evident in its ever-growing stable of mounts, each new edition not only diversifying player movement, but also enhancing how they interact with Tyria's evolving landscapes. Speaking of which, we've returned to the Crystal Oasis, where our path leads to Amnoon. Once known as the Amnoon Oasis in Guild Wars 1, then a humble trading post, it has since grown into a thriving hub of commerce and culture, a beacon of stability amid the ever-shifting sands. The city of Amnoon thrives with ceaseless energy, its streets bustling even beneath the moonlit sky. Adventurers from across Tyria gather here, drawn by its wealth and opportunities, trade, and intrigue. Though the city's laws ostensibly forbid raptors within its limits, enforcement is a mere formality. Amnoon's architecture is a testament to its identity. With grand, rounded facades, towering aquariums brimming with marine life, and open-air debate halls, where politics flourish. Yet, for all its promise of self-determination, ideologies clash within its walls. Some pledge loyalty to Joko, the tyrant king whose influence creeps even here, while others uphold the city's fragile independence. The tension is embodied in the Temple of Six, a stunning tribute to the gods, though Balthazar, now reviled, stands shrouded in quiet protest, his statue's head covered by a single wicker basket, a reminder of his fall from grace. But Amnoon is not a fortress. The desert spills into the city, with wild creatures wandering its edges, a constant reminder of the untamed land beyond. On the outskirts, a champion of Joko stands defiant. Let's take a closer look at combat mechanics and the crucial role of status effects. Just to the right of my health bar, positioned above my profession abilities, you'll notice 3 vertically stacked effect bars. The top displays boons, powerful buffs that enhance your combat performance, increasing stats like damage, mobility, or defense. The middle bar contains various enhancements, temporary buffs that don't fall under the traditional boon system but still modify your state. The bottom bar tracks conditions, debilitating effects designed to hinder movement, lower defenses, or apply damage over time. Success in Guild Wars 2 isn't just about raw damage output, it's about managing effects in real time. Skilled adventurers maximize boons while mitigating, cleansing, or converting conditions. These aren't subtle minor integer modifiers, they drastically shift the flow of combat. For instance, during this fight, I'm afflicted with Crippled and Slow. These reduce my attack and movement speed by 50%. Vulnerability, a stacking debuff that increases the damage I take per stack, making me progressively more fragile. Boons, on the other hand, provide powerful counterplay. Might increases outgoing damage, and at max stats, it provides a boost equivalent to wearing an entire additional set of gear. Quickness speeds up skill activation by around 33%, accelerating your combat responsiveness. Guild Wars 2 battles are chaotic and fluid. Boons are contested, stripped, reapplied, converted, and shifted dynamically. Rather than executing a predetermined sequence, players must react on the fly, cycling boons and mitigating conditions on a constantly shifting battlefield. This interplay makes Guild Wars 2 combat more unpredictable, rewarding those who can adapt their buff and condition management in real time. If you're interested in a deep dive into boon condition interactions and advanced combat techniques, Mighty Teapot has an encyclopedic video covering all the specifics. Well worth a watch if you want to master the system. But Balthazar's twisted flames consume the land, choking the air with embers and the acrid scent of scorched stone. Forced to retreat beyond the city's heart, we find ourselves at the outskirts, where desperation has taken root.
Oh no! We're trapped!
Huddle up. If you can fight, stand with me.
But the Forged aren't our only concern.
I need someplace to hide. We've got a stampede incoming.
Show us stampede!
Close that gate.
Hide everything! Hide yourselves!
Not when bands of Choya marauders are running riot through the streets, leaving playful chaos in their wake. These stubborn, ambulatory succulents descend upon the town like a particularly aggressive gardening mishap. As the call to arms sounds, adventurers across the city do what adventurers do best, take up their weapons and neatly bisect the rampaging Choya, leaving the streets looking less like a battlefield and more like an ambitious garnish station for an exotic immune delicacy. This content is a prime example of Guild Wars 2's most defining feature, events. While other MMOs incorporate public quests, fates, or activities to bring players together, Guild Wars 2 builds its entire gameplay loop around drawing players into a wide range of dynamic content. The largest of these, called meta events, function as zone-wide raids, shaping the world and escalating into grand cooperative encounters. Imagine casting back interdimensional onslaughts, standing firm against alien dragons, or fighting against an elder dragon in the flesh. Technically, group content is centered around the event system too, yet we'll discuss those details in time. Events take many forms, yet they always reflect the local concerns, culture, and world building. In Guild Wars 2, events are as fundamental as quests are in World of Warcraft. Gear progression, currencies, experience, and even story advancement all revolve around them. Fortunately, they are plentiful and seamless, so much so that you may find yourself participating without even realizing it. They integrate so naturally into the world.
Commander? Can you hear me?
For instance, you might stumble upon a gathering of players, split into 4 squads, each tasked with defeating a colossal Flora Guardian within the same time window. Success hinges on balancing mechanics, coordinating phases, and exploiting your profession's strengths. But once the threat is vanquished, the rewards flow generously. This meta event, despite being years old, remains actively played, a testament to its engaging design and valuable rewards. In contrast, the Crystal Deserts meta see far less activity, catering to different playstyles. Some metas are gruelingly difficult, requiring coordination, adaptivity, and patience. And yes, failure is an option.
Your failure will be their final thought.
It's a harsh but valuable lesson. Mechanics matter, and true victory comes only to those who rise to meet the challenge. For those coming from more traditional MMOs, learning to embrace events is key. They bring players together, weave storytelling into gameplay, and build towards some of the best large-scale encounters in the genre. It's this interplay between narrative, character progression, and public events that defines Guild Wars 2's unique tempo, a rhythm through which the world feels alive, reactive. And within mere moments of arriving in the Crystal Desert, ArenaNet's designers have already begun teaching, not through walls of text or intrusive tutorials, but through organic experience. Players learn by doing. This seamless integration of design and discovery is nothing short of a masterclass in game design, because the moment you don't realize you're being taught is the moment you're actively learning. It's at this moment that the Crystal Oasis extends its silent invitation to wander, to marvel, to immerse. Whether you find yourself gazing up at the glistening night sky where the remnants of once proud pyramids stand as echoes of a forgotten age, or strolling along the harbor where wooden boats rest upon the gentle tide, the desert beckons. Even the radiant moon joins in the spectacle, its silver light dancing upon the broken crowns of ancient monuments, a quiet reminder that even in ruin, beauty endures. You may feel compelled to delve into the hollowed remains of ancient pyramids, now claimed by the relentless march of the desert. Their interiors no longer filled with grandeur, but with sand, suspense, and the slow return of nature's hand. Or perhaps you'll venture into the vast, submerged chambers where the old world has surrendered to the tides, allowing new life to flourish in the ruins of empire. Or should your ambition drive you ever upward, you may trek to their sun-scorched peaks, braving the blazing oasis heat only to find yourself not alone. Territorial scorpions and dust devils prowl the heights, eager to make a meal of the unwary. But should you overcome the elements and its stalwart guardians, the promise of long-forgotten treasure awaits, eager for a new owner to claim its legacy.
Shiny.
As the oasis lures you deeper into its shifting sands, its serenity begins to fray. The further you venture, the more resistance you encounter from the Forged, Balthazar's relentless conscripts, animated by divine wrath and bound in searing metal. Scattered across the desert in forward bases, they must be driven back, not just to give Amnoon the breathing room it desperately needs, but also to understand their tactics. And the sooner you learn their way of fighting, the better prepared you'll be when the time comes to face their master. The Forged move as one, separate as soldiers yet cohesive as a unit. Flying skirmishers on floating scooters zip across the battlefield, while Forerunners carve superheated lines into the ground, punishing those who dare trespass their domain. Guild Wars 2 intuitive battle UI uses color-coded text to convey damage, healing, barriers, and critical hits at a glance. Visual cues like larger text for crits and icons for combos ensure that important interactions are instantly recognizable, keeping combat fluid and responsive. But beyond what is displayed, combat is deeply interactive. In fact, in my interviews, the depth of combat was repeatedly emphasized as to why people keep playing Guild Wars 2 for years. Watch as my warrior spins through molten ground, triggering an advanced interaction known as combos. This is one of my favorite mechanics in any MMORPG, reminding me fondly of group abilities in Chrono Trigger, where one player's action creates an opportunity for another. Diving deeper, the combo system is simple. Combo fields define an area where interactions can occur. Finishers trigger an effect when interacting with a field. For example, when a Forged enemy lays down a fire trail, I leap through it, activating a Flame Aurora finisher, a fiery shield that burns nearby foes and grants might whenever I'm struck for 5 seconds. But the depth doesn't end there. Other finishers, such as Blast, Whirl, and Projectile, offer unique tactical advantages, from buffing allies to creating AoE effects. It's a layer of complexity that rewards those who master it, yet remains accessible for those who simply enjoy its benefits. They add a dynamic, emergent quality to battle that makes every encounter feel responsive, fluid, and deeply satisfying. For those eager to dive deeper, Kyo has an excellent video breaking down the intricacies of the system. And just as group combat offers a satisfying dance of strategy and synergy, so too does the thrill of a solo challenge, like taking on a fire hydra alone. This towering menace doesn't just rain fiery meteors from the sky, every severed head becomes another foe, forcing you to constantly adjust your positioning and priorities in the heat of battle. Lava pools scorch the ground, demanding movement and awareness, while the fight's shifting tempo ensures that victory isn't just about raw power, but about adaptation and control. But the desert beckons, drawing you ever deeper into its sun-scorched expanse, its dunes whispering of conflict and consequence. The land itself bears scars of their inevitable collision, its sands shifting beneath the weight of divine wrath and primordial power. And so you press on, not merely as a wanderer, but as a witness to a war between gods and monsters, where the fate of Tyria itself hangs in the balance. That fate, inevitably, leads to the Temple of Cormyr in Alona Reach. From a narrative perspective, this location is charged with significance. In Guild Wars 1, this was a site of transcendence, where players undertook the 3 trials of ascension, unlocking new depths of power and proving themselves worthy of facing the elite titans in the realm beyond. But now, in this new era, we're not here to ascend. Instead, we're tending to the sick and broken, not stepping into divinity, but bearing witness to its consequences. But the enemy festers, its forces growing unchecked, and so we must press forward. Beyond the temple, nestled between towering canyon walls, lies a massive forged encampment. It's here that we come face to face with an abomination of metal and flame, a forged colossus towering over the battlefield like a twisted war god. This monstrosity of iron and hellfire is essentially a forged Gundam, a walking fortress of rockets flaming unrelenting destruction. It spits volleys of missiles, unleashes devastating Kamehameha-like energy beams, and scorches the battlefield with cannon blasts that leave only smoldering ruin in their wake. The arena itself is a maelstrom, its perimeter wreathed in swirling portals of fire, drawing adventurers into the hurricane of Balthazar's war machine. So what options do we have to defeat this mechanized Goliath? We'll dive into specializations and traits later in the series, but at its core, a profession's battlefield prowess depends on how well its gear, weapon skills, and traits align. Guild Wars 2's elite specializations, prestige classes unlocked through expansion content, augment, redefine, or even subvert a profession's playstyle. For the Berserker, this transformation is executed flawlessly. The goal is simple: enter and sustain Berserk mode by generating adrenaline, a resource carried over from Guild Wars 1, spent to unleash devastating primal burst abilities, each distinct across the nearly 24 weapon combinations warriors can wield. As the most martial profession, warriors have access to the widest arsenal, and Guild Wars 2 sets itself apart by ensuring that each weapon's skills are unique to the profession using them. A ranger's swordplay is nothing like a mesmer's. What makes the Berserker's design so compelling is its elegant cohesion. Combat feels best when you're fully committed. The system rewards staying in the fight, driving the player to generate more adrenaline, extend Berserk mode, and keep the momentum going. It's a perfect selection flow where the mechanics and fantasy align seamlessly to create one of the most satisfying melee experiences. Whether you prefer to spin to win with dual axes, set yourself ablaze with the torch while bleeding foes with the sword, or crush enemies with a hammer while rallying or demoralizing with banners, the warrior's arsenal offers impressive versatility. Beyond weapon skills, warriors leverage brute force to dominate the battlefield, culminating in a raging juggernaut that replaces standard abilities with a wholly new, devastating kit. But raw aggression isn't the only path. For those who prefer long-range precision, the rifle offers a visceral, tactical approach, using adrenaline as ammunition to exploit enemy weaknesses. Alternatively, the longbow excels in bleeding, burning, and mobile crowd control, layering combo fields and conditions to outlast and overwhelm. Melee specialists seeking speed and disruption may opt for dual daggers, a fast-hitting, boon-stripping weapon that warriors must train to wield. Likewise, the staff, another non-core weapon, offers a defensive, support-focused alternative, capable of healing allies, weakening enemies, and reinforcing frontline durability. The newest addition to the warrior's arsenal, the spear, introduces a highly mobile, ranged playstyle focused on controlling enemy movement, calling down aerial strikes, and exploiting poor positioning. Its burst skill sees the warrior leaping skyward before hurling a spear into the target zone, punishing those caught in its impact. And for those who prefer a balance of offense and defense, the shield remains a clever warrior's best ally, capable of blocking or outright negating incoming attacks. As the profession with the widest arsenal of weapons and martial combinations, the warrior is an incredibly dynamic and adaptable class, offering a myriad of tactical options to suit any combat style. Caffeinated Dad has a brilliant introductory video I recommend for those getting started with the profession. And it's this adaptability, this command of tactics, that ensures we are ready for what's waiting. When the behemoth falls, the portals collapse, their infernal power fading into nothing. Victory is brief, for as the embers settle, the Herald of Balthazar reappears, standing defiant upon the very temple of Cormyr, where we once offered aid. This was not just another battle, it's a message. The Forged Lieutenant's defeat demands retaliation, and the Herald answers in kind, defiling sacred ground with the war god's fury.
I set them all to be made worthy, to be strengthened, to be forged.
Over here! I won't let you touch them. Don't let her escape!
We have to revive the faithful before the fire hits them.
But before we can tear her asunder, she vanishes through the same portal magic we just unmade, leaving us with nothing but smoldering ruins and the promise of a reckoning still to come. Thankfully, there's finally time to breathe. One of the things I love about Guild Wars 2 level design is how it celebrates the full breadth of desert landscapes. In fact, rolling sand dunes make up only a small fraction of the environment. Here in the Crystal Oasis, the desert is alive with contrasts. Towering monoliths of stone rise from the earth, sheltering thriving ecosystems where wildlife feeds and flourishes. Water carves winding channels through rock, sustaining life in the most unexpected places. Yet not all forces at play are natural. Industry roars beneath the surface as the Forged burrow deep into the caverns, tunneling towards hidden reservoirs of power. Here, for the first time, we come face to face with the true epicenter of Balthazar's obsession, where the Elder Dragon's presence is not just felt, but seen. Massive waves of crystal surge unnaturally across the land, solidified in mid-motion, as if the very fabric of reality has bent around their force. A frozen tsunami, jagged and unyielding, towers above the desert, its unnatural form a stark testament to the power Balthazar seeks to claim. And now, as you stand in the shadow of these impossibly suspended waves, the truth sets in. These crystalline spires, frozen mid-surge, are the remnants of a battle yet to truly unfold. The Elder Dragon's power has warped the land itself, and the prey of the god you have chosen to defy is more than just a creature. It's a force of nature capable of reshaping the world. Yet for all the stillness in these frozen waves, magic moves elsewhere. Just as the tides of the sea fill the submerged pyramids near Amnun, so too does magic surge and swirl through another fractured pyramid ahead. And from its shattered peak, something calls. As we step through, we are met with a sight unlike anything before. A floating river of sand, suspended midair, animated not by physics, but by the very will of the desert itself. It's an impossible bridge, a pathway of magic, carrying us forward to the next revelation. Fire burns in the heavens. Molten rock rains from above. The once inviting blue expanse of sky is now a storm of heat and destruction, a furnace where the gods forge their war. Below, a town burns, its people besieged, its fate uncertain. Here on the dust-choked remnants of an ancient seabed, we fight amongst the bones of giants. The monolithic skeletons of long-dead leviathans still loom over the land, their colossal remains defying time itself. But these remnants of the past are merely a backdrop for a far greater battle, one that has been etched into the annals of Tyria's history, the battlefield where Kralkatorrik clashed with its scion, Glint. And now, at its fated site, we witness another titanic struggle. Vlast, Glint's scion, Kralkatork's grandchild, standing against Balthazar himself, the fallen god. Yet as divinity and dragon collide, we must face the once eternal, his herald, in final combat. Wreathed in forged flame, she stands ready, unrelenting. But we are not alone. Our foe does not hold back, and one misstep, one moment of hesitation will send us to the ground. In Guild Wars 2, defeat is not the end. We have 5 down skills. Each class wields its own tools, but for a warrior, Resurgence is just a heartbeat away if you can endure long enough to activate Vengeance, a skill that immediately revives you, but at a cost. If you fail to defeat a foe in time, you collapse once more, your strength spent. There's no concept of XP penalties or gear degradation upon defeat, simply time lost and the personal frustration of failure. In this way, Guild Wars 2 has one of the most lenient defeat systems in the genre. Yet this battle is not just about endurance, it's about precision, timing, and breaking the enemy's resolve. Beneath the Herald's health bar, a vertical cyan bar gleams, the Defiance bar. Certain skills deal defiance damage, and when the bar is shattered, the enemy is stunned, vulnerable, or exposed. Thankfully, the Berserker Elite specialization boosts several defiance-breaking abilities, allowing us to seize that opening and turn the tide. But the Herald is no fool. She fights with a newfound ferocity, unleashing new attacks unseen before. Walls of fire churn across the battlefield, shifting and twisting, while orbs of molten rock dance in deadly patterns. One mistake spells disaster. But as the flames close in, as we refuse to yield, she taunts us in defeat.
Prove you are stronger. Kill my god. Please.
We ascend the holy stairs, stepping into the presence of a force far beyond mortal reckoning. Before us stands Balthazar, not merely the master of the forged, but the incarnation of war itself. With effortless might, he slams the ground, crystal walls of searing magic erupting in his wake, his titanic sword hovering at his command, obeying unspoken orders as if bound by the very laws of war.
Foolish choice. The flames will blacken your corpse.
In the wake of his death, Balthazar vanishes, his presence erased as the land settles into silence. Yet, even in death, Vlast leaves behind a legacy. Memory crystals, scattered throughout the Highlands, whispering fragments of his past. And as we stand amidst the wreckage, the weight of his sacrifice pressing upon us, one truth becomes undeniable. This war is far from over.